What's up, y'all? Jamaica here, and I'm back with another video. Welcome to my channel, where you can find all things West African and American submerged. Today we are doing another quick recipe video, and we're going to be making aubergine or eggplant stew. So if that's your thing, stay tuned. Now, girl, I know what you're thinking. Eggplant? Who wants that? But let me tell you, I didn't grow up eating eggplant, but when I met my husband, this has easily become one of my favorite West African with a little American twist dishes. And stay tuned so you can see how I make it, girl, because I'm sure your family will love it. So what you're gonna need is one large eggplant, 2 Roma tomatoes, and 1 whole onion. I'm choosing to use red onion. You can use white onion, yellow onion, whatever onion you prefer. I prefer red onion. You're gonna need your meat of choice. I'm using beef chunks today, again. Y'all probably like, girl, she loves some beef chunks. It just so happened that most of the dishes that I decide to film are with meat. But you can remix this dish and make it vegetarian. If you do that, tag me, girl. Show me how you do it, because I know it's gonna be bomb regardless. And then for your seasonings, you're going to need paprika, salt, black pepper, onion powder, ginger powder, garlic powder. And this is the Total Seasoning by Lowry's. I'm using that today in place of Maggi. I know. Maggi is life. I know. Jumbo is life. I know. Nor is life. I know. Any type of bouillon will work. We use those 3 that I just named, and we are all out of all of them. I cannot believe it, but we move. We're gonna still make it work with what we got. Some tomato paste. This is about 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. And then your starch of choice. I'm using whole wheat spaghetti noodles today, but you can use any type of noodles you want. We usually use vermicelli if I'm using noodles, but you can use rice. Most people use rice for this dish. I'm just using noodles today because we had rice for the last couple of days, so I'm trying to like remix it. And then the kids prefer noodles, so we're using whole wheat noodles, spaghetti noodles that I've already broken in half. And then, girl, the last thing you're gonna need, if you're anything like me and coffee is day, is your iced coffee. Let's get to it. Alright guys, so first things first, you want to go ahead and preheat your oil a little bit. I forgot to mention that you need frying oil, but you can use whatever oil you use for your family. I know some people have allergies to certain oils. I prefer peanut oil when I'm frying, but you can use peanut oil, you can use vegetable oil, canola oil, grapeseed oil, olive oil, whatever oil you want, child. It doesn't matter. So I'm going to go ahead and start off by putting the meat in the pan and letting that kind of like cook a little bit while I cut up the veggies. So for the veggies, we've already gone over the ingredients, but basically for the eggplant for this dish, we're going to skin the entire eggplant. So we're not going to use any of the skin for the eggplant. So this is how I cut mine up. I just cut off the head, and then I cut off the bottom. And then I just take my knife and I just go down and skin it. You can use like a peeler if that's better for you. I've used peelers before. Child, it's about to go up in this seasoning. I've used a peeler before, but this is just easier for the time being or whatever. But you do want to try to kind of make thin slices. That slice was kind of thick, so a peeler is better as far as the slices because it does make it a little thinner. So you want to go ahead and remove all of the skin. Quick, like that. Now you just have the flesh of the eggplant. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the trash so I can have more space. And so you hear the meat is kind of frying up a little bit. And And so while that's frying up, I'm gonna go ahead and start cutting up the chunks for the eggplant. The smaller chunks is better, but you know, if you don't have time to make them super small, because I know we got families, we got a whole bunch of stuff going on, and sometimes we need our dishes to be good and fast. So I'm just chopping them. They're kind of thin, but they could be smaller as well. So it just depends. I mean, it really doesn't matter if they're kind of big because they're going to cook down regardless. But it's easier when they're smaller. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut up this, and we'll be right back. Alright, girls. So the eggplant is all chopped up. The pieces are pretty small, kind of medium, but they're pretty good. Now I'm gonna go ahead and chop up the onion. Oops, excuse me. And as you can hear, the beef is still frying. So we're gonna go ahead and let that fry a little bit longer, and I'm going to chop up the onion. The onion sizes, you do want to make those kind of small as well. Not too small, but not too chunky either, because you want it to be like a pretty nice consistency. And then especially if you have small children, you know, small children sometimes can be picky, girl, when it comes to eating. So specifically for my small child, Aya, if she can visibly see the onion, she gonna pull it out. So I like to make them, you know, a pretty decent size so that maybe it's camouflaged in the stew and she'll still eat it. But more than likely, she gonna still pull it out. Y'all know how toddlers are. They be in their own little world, own little mind. Oh. Be right back. Najia just woke up. I was trying to record this while she was asleep, but that ain't work. Trying to record while they're asleep, it doesn't always work. But the meat is pretty much nice and toasty. It's not all the way cooked, of course, but you know, pre-cooked. And so all of my aubergine, my eggplant is all chopped up, so I'm going to go ahead and add that to the stew, to the oil. So basically right now the only thing that's in here is the cooking oil in the meat. I'm going to go ahead and add the chopped eggplant. And along with that, we're going to add the chopped onions. So as I was saying before the baby woke up and I had to run and get her, the onions are pretty finely chopped. They could be smaller, but this is pretty decent. And I like my onions to be kind of bigger because I love onions. My husband loves onions too. But because of the children, I try to chop them a little bit smaller. So this one is kind of medium size, but you can do them smaller if you like. And this is the whole onion that I had. So we're adding that. Then I'm gonna just give it a good stir to get it all evenly coated with oil. Then we're gonna let that fry down a little bit. But before, I'm gonna add my seasonings. Now, when it comes to making these dishes, you can add or remove. Let me take a sip, y'all. My throat going in and out and everything, child. You can add or remove any seasoning that you like or dislike in my choice of seasonings. But if you want to give it that, I would say authentic West African flavor, the Maggi or the jumbo seasoning is definitely what helps in that. And then another seasoning that helps give it that West African flavor is going to be your dry fish. I'm not using dry fish today, but you can use any type of dry crayfish. You can use dry shrimp. Any dry seafood powder is really going to take your flavor up a notch. I'm not using it today, again, but if you feel like, you know, you want to have that flavor, then go ahead and add that. So I'm just going to add all of the seasonings that we already went over. And then of course I taste as I go. So before I'm finished, if I need to add anything else, if I feel like anything else needs to be added, I'll go ahead and do that. And I encourage you to do the same thing because, child, don't nobody want no bland food. We use our seasonings, baby. We use our herbs around here. So, all right, girls. So this is how it's looking so far. After I've added the eggplant, the onions, and the beef chunks, and the seasonings. So we're just gonna go ahead and let that cook down. This part takes a little while, but while it's cooking down a little, I'm gonna chop up my Roma tomatoes. We're gonna add those in there, and then we're gonna take a look at what we need to do next. So the fire right now, I have this stove where it's like called quick. This side is like called quick boil or something. So it's like way hotter on this side. So right now the level is a 3, but I think I'm gonna take it up to like a 5. So it's on 5 right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and cover it, cut up my tomatoes, and then we're gonna see what's next, baby. Alright, so we're going to take a look at the meat and see what's simmering over here. It's looking good, smelling good, sounding good. Y'all hear that sizzle? It sounds so good, so bomb. And I can smell the ginger and the garlic so strong. Oh my God, it smells so good up in here. So everything is looking real good. I'm gonna go ahead and add my chopped tomatoes. This is 2 Roma tomatoes that I chopped up. Guys, gonna be on and popping. So now we're gonna let that cook down a little bit more, probably just a couple of minutes, and see what we need to do next. But yeah, so I'm just gonna let that cook down a little bit. I'm gonna turn the fire down just a little bit. So now we're back on 3 where we were earlier. And then I'm gonna just cover it again, and we're going to let that simmer before we add in our tomato paste. Be back, child. All right, girls. So look, it's been a few minutes, and about six minutes to be exact. Well, maybe 5. 5-6 minutes, child. Who's counting? Anyway, so this is how it looks so far. It is sticking a little bit to the pan, but that's okay. No biggie. It's frying up lovely. So now I'm going to go ahead and add in my tomato paste, and I'm going to also turn the fire down just a little bit more since it's sticking, and see what we need to do from there. The tomato paste gets a little sticky, so you kind of gotta put it in there with some force. So y'all, this is basically the last step outside of course, tasting it and seeing if you need to add any other seasoning. So I'm going to go ahead and do this, and I'll be right back, honey. All right, girls, so the tomato paste has all been added, and now basically you're just going to mix it all together so that everything is evenly coated. And look at that sauce. Don't it just look so good? So doesn't this kind of remind you of bolognese? Is that what they call it? How you say it? Bolognese? Child, y'all know what I'm talking about. Spaghetti sauce, basically, with like some veggies and stuff. That's what it kind of reminds me of. So basically, the way that you're able to get this dish to taste so bomb, and you kind of forget about the fact that it's eggplant, is by cooking the eggplant down. So as you remember, when we first put the eggplant in the stew, it was kind of like chunky, but now it's fried down, it's cooked down to basically like just a sauce, a stew, a mush, if you will, and it's gonna be so good. So basically, I'm gonna just keep stirring that a little bit so everything gets evenly coated with the tomato paste, and I'm gonna just turn the fire down so that it doesn't stick anymore. And yeah, we're gonna let that simmer and cook for a couple more minutes, and then we're gonna see what needs to be next. So right now the fire is on a 3. I'm gonna go ahead and put it on a 1, child, because we ain't trying to get it burnt, but we do want it cooked. So y'all, this dish is so quick. Ooh, it's hot. This dish is so quick, so easy, and it's bomb. I'm telling you, it's good. So now you can go ahead and start preparing your starch. If you're using rice, you do want to go ahead and wash your rice, put that on the stove. But since I'm just using pasta, I'm gonna cook the pasta when it's closer to dinner time because it's a little early. I try to cook while my kids are sleeping, taking their nap, so that everything else is done. So I'm gonna cook my pasta when it's close to dinner time. But basically, y'all know how to make pasta. However you choose to make your pasta, girl, make your pasta. Some people make their pasta in chicken broth to give it a little flavor. Some people just use regular water. It's totally up to you how you make your pasta. I'm just using water because I don't have chicken broth anyway. But yeah, you can use water, chicken broth, whatever you use, or you can just cook it with rice. But I chose to cook it with pasta today. And really, I like this dish with pasta because it kind of reminds me of a southern spaghetti. Y'all know in black households, baby, growing up, spaghetti was a staple. Yes, spaghetti. All right, girls, so listen, I've already turned the fire down. It's been a couple of minutes and it's pretty much done. Everything is done. I've tasted mine and it doesn't need any more seasoning. I was head on with the seasoning today, honey. But y'all, look at that sauce. It's definitely giving bolognese. I think that's how you say it. I got my mail,